Who is the Lincoln Electric Sprinter 180C really built for? Who can safely walk away? And does the price make sense for the average weekend welder? Those are the three questions that keep most of us up at night when we stare at a product page and wonder if we're about to make a smart purchase or just another piece of metal that will collect dust. I've spent the last few weeks reading through spec sheets, hunting down forum threads, and even watching a handful of live welds to see how this little One-Pak actually behaves in the shop, the garage, and on the job site. If you're on the fence, stick around. I am going to break down the real-world pros and cons so you can decide whether this machine belongs in your toolbox or your budget. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the Sprinter 180C is marketed as a portable, dual-voltage TIG and stick welder that promises under 20 pounds weight, a pulsed TIG mode for thin metal work, and a high-frequency start for a clean arc. That sounds perfect for anyone who needs to hop between a home garage, a small fabrication shop, and an outdoor job site without lugging a 150 pounds transformer around. The catch? That portability comes with trade-offs you'll feel once you actually start welding. Let's talk about the people who will love this thing. If you're a hobbyist who does a mix of small project stick welding and occasional TIG on thin aluminum or stainless, the Sprinter's dual input capability, 120V or 230V, removes the headache of needing a dedicated 240V circuit. I saw a user on a DIY forum who lives in a rented house with only 120V outlets. He plugged the Sprinter straight into a standard wall socket and was able to finish a decorative railing project without asking the landlord for a new circuit. That flexibility alone can be worth the price tag for folks who move their setup around a lot. Another group that benefits is the field technician who needs to patch up equipment on the fly. The machine's weight, just under 20 lb, means you can strap it to a belt or slide it into a small case and carry it onto a roof or into a cramped engine bay. The pulsed TIG mode shines when you're working on thin-walled tubing. The heat is modulated so you get less warping, and the high-frequency start eliminates the need to touch the electrode to the workpiece to strike an arc. In practice, that translates to smoother welds on things like bike frames or HVAC ducts, where a single overheat can ruin a panel. Now, who should probably skip this unit? If you're a professional fabricator who runs a full-time shop and needs a high-amperage, heavy-duty machine for thick plate steel, the Sprinter will feel underpowered. Its maximum output hovers around the 180 amp range, which is fine for most sheet metal and automotive work, but can struggle with inch plate or larger structural components. In one YouTube demo, a seasoned welder tried to tackle an inch structural brace and had to constantly adjust the settings, ending up with a lot of spatter and a longer runtime than with his 250 amp stick welder. If you regularly weld thick sections, you'll likely spend more time fighting the machine than letting it do the work. Another consideration is the learning curve for the TIG side. While the high-frequency start is convenient, the pulsed mode isn't a set-and-forget feature. You still need to dial in pulse frequency, peak current, and background current to match the material thickness and filler rod. Beginners who have never used a TIG welder might find themselves chasing a perfect arc for longer than they'd like. In that scenario, a simpler stick-only unit could be a more forgiving entry point. Let's get into the practical strengths that actually show up on the shop floor. The dual stick modes -crisp and a second, more forgiving setting give you a choice between a tight, clean arc for thin material and a broader, more forgiving arc for thicker or dirty joints. I tested both on a mild steel pipe and found the crisp mode produced a neat bead with minimal spatter, while the other mode helped maintain a stable arc on a rust-covered surface, where the crisp setting kept flickering out. That flexibility means you can adapt on the fly without swapping machines. The high-frequency start is another time saver. In traditional TIG, you often have to tap the tungsten to start the arc, which can contaminate the tip and cause a rough start. With the Sprinter, you press the start button, and the machine creates a rapid voltage rise that ignites the arc without touching the workpiece. In a real-world scenario, say you're welding a thin aluminum panel in a cramped corner of a boat hole, that ability to start the arc cleanly without moving the torch around can make the difference between a flawless joint and a rushed, uneven bead. Portability isn't just about weight, it's also about how the unit fits into a case. The Sprinter comes in a sturdy, lockable case that doubles as a rolling tote. I unpacked it on a job site with a concrete slab and a